All right. All righty. So what we got going on here today? Makes no sense. All right, this is Sports for Real with Coach Hall. Trying to get off to a little earlier start today. Anticipate a few fireworks this morning. Last night, the NBA Conference Finals tipped off in the West with a much anticipated matchup between OKC, the number one seed, taking on Minnesota. Well, Minnesota easily got by the Lakers 4-1. Then they turned around and got by Golden State 4-1. So naturally, people who like Minnesota, who think that Minnesota is ready to go beyond where they went last year, which is the same spot, the Western Conference Finals, and they want them to take the next step. That's obvious coming from fans who want to see the teams they like do well, but when you look at things closer, it's not that simple. The Lakers, when they beat them, everybody's all excited about the Lakers. They were excited about the Lakers the way they are about Minnesota now. Optimism. But reality struck once the game started. Then you started to see the flaws of the Lakers. They're just too small. And when they needed the most, they just didn't have that inside presence. So Minnesota took advantage of that. Then they go to the next round where you get Golden State, and Golden State steals the first game. Then after Golden State won that first game, Steph Curry gets hurt. So now that gives Minnesota a clear path to the conference finals. So they got by them 4-1. So here we are, everybody with their high optimism, they're saying that this series is going to go 7. But when I look around and I look at reality and I'm looking at matchups, I don't see it. Then they sit around for a week waiting on OKC, who was supposed to be in bad shape because they just got out of a 7-game series, right? So they're ripe for the picking, right? Minnesota's rested, right? Well, normally what happens is when a team sits around after playing every 2 or 3 days and you sit around for a week, now you are not in the same groove that you were in before. That's strike number 1. 2, the team you were playing just got out of a 7-game series who's still in rhythm. Strike number 2. Then matchups. That turns out to be strike number 3. And that is most glaring of all, that Minnesota, the problem that they have to overcome. So I say that because the modern style of play calls for the 3-point shot. If you look at the game, you have guards who will penetrate and then look to kick it out for a wide open 3. Even when you have opportunities for an easy layup, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense because you want the glamour shot and say, look, I hit a 3, but you're passing up the easy 2-point shot. And that puts a lot of teams in trouble. Now, Minnesota, they want to live on the 3-point line. Well, OKC, they have tremendous help defense. They're alone. They get their hands in there, and they may allow you to hit a 3. But as far as the whole complement of your game, you're not going to be able to do both. So Minnesota has to pick what they want to do. And what they seem to have wanted to do last night was shoot 3s. Now, they came out in the first half, and they were looking really good. And then people thought, well, OKC might be in trouble. Well, you can't depend on Randall to hit 4 or 5 3-pointers in the first half. That's a recipe for disaster. Think you're going to come out and do it in the second half, right? Well, he didn't do any of that. I don't even think he took a 3-point shot in the second half. So it all comes down to, if Randall can't do the 3-point shot consistently, and the bench didn't play very well for Minnesota last night. I don't know what the hell the value Rudy Gobert is. Big as he is, he only got 3 rebounds last night. So the entirety of the Minnesota bench didn't play well. So that leaves the so-called face of the league. Everybody wants to make Edwards the face of the league. He didn't score a point in the fourth quarter. So you tell me, if this team here is in the fans' overwhelming favorite to win this series, how are they going to do it? You can't win it with a bench, and you can't win it just shooting three-pointers. Eventually, that recipe is going to go by the wayside. So the adjustments that need to be made by Minnesota, they're going to have to get the ball down in the paint, and they're going to have to get help from their bench. But I'm just tripping on the hysteria that I hear. Oh, Minnesota's going to win. They're going to win in 6. They're going to win in 7. I got my boy D Nice that come on here. He said they were going to win in 5 2 weeks ago. But I hadn't seen any of that. So you guys tell me, what does Minnesota have to do to stick with OKC? Because if they play like they did last night, it might just be a sweep. All right, I see JC on you. How you doing, man? Paul Carrion said I'm 6'8". Okay, what does that do because you 6'8"? I don't know what that means. Jordan Carpenter, I don't know what you're talking about. I will say hello to you, though. If you can travel back in time, witness any event in history, which would you choose and why? I like to meet some of my relatives because I like to hear what they got to say. All right. I miss the Boston Celtics. Well, if you're a Celtics fan, I can see why you would miss the Celtics, but Celtics are no more this year. They'll be back in October, so check them out then. But then nobody's going to be paying attention because football is king, and this is just something to talk about until football comes back around. I don't care who wins the title. They're not good teams. Well, I don't know about that. In relation to what? I mean, they're not, I don't know if they any great complete teams. OKC is probably the most complete team out there now. They're certainly playing the best ball. But if you're going to put them in relation to some other teams from the past, then they will have a matchup problem, especially down in the paint. Part of that has to do with the style of play. In this three-point era, you're not going to find very many teams that can stack up down low with historic teams. Stackhouse Sr., just in case y'all didn't know. What do you mean, Jerry Stackhouse Sr.? This is his dad? I don't know what that means. Lakers in 5? Well, which Lakers team are you talking about? The Shaq teams? Because the Lakers from this year, they're gone. So we want to talk about them. So I asked the question, are the Timberwolves in trouble already? And I got a few early votes. And some of you are saying yes. And I tend to agree. Well, all the excitement that people are giving about Minnesota having the opportunity to go to the finals, they're tremendously disappointed this morning. And I just can't understand how you can anoint a team when they hadn't really done anything. They want to make Anthony Edwards the face of the league. He's a great player and all of that. He's got some issues on the side that would probably take him off that face of the league kind of thing. But I just can't understand how everybody just want to put them in that top spot when they hadn't really done a whole lot to earn it. Yeah, you got to the conference finals last year, but does that mean did you win a championship? No, you didn't win a championship. And everybody's questioning OKC's capability of winning a championship. Well, they've been checking every box along the way, so I don't understand how people are still questioning OKC. What you're really saying to me is, do we really want to see this Midwestern City team in the NBA Finals? We want to see New York or LA in the finals because these are bigger names, and that's what people want to see. No, that's what we want to see, whoever earns their way to the championship. And I don't care if they're from backwoods Maine. If they are the best team in the league and they earn their way to the championship, then damn it, I want to see them play in the championship series. I don't care about what's on your shirt or what city you play for. That means nothing. That's a sense of entitlement. And when you get entitled, that's when you get beat. But again, I'm hearing all these analysts talk about how OKC is in trouble and they're going to lose in 7 games to Minnesota. And I don't know if they're trying to sell tickets or if they really believe that in their heart. But when you look at the game, what you see in the games doesn't match the optimism that everybody has for this Minnesota team, especially since you've been sitting around waiting a whole week when you know 9 times out of 10 you were going to play OKC. It's not like you hadn't played OKC before, and I heard Nick Van Exel say that this is a fill-out game. Well, you're in the same division. Why do you have to fill out your own division opponent? That doesn't make sense. You know, that's the basketball mindset. In football, you don't have time to fill out. You fill them out the first series, but after that, you better play some football or you going home. But division opponents, there's nothing to fill out. You know what OKC is about. You know what they're going to do. You should have a plan on how to play against this team, especially when you know your bench is iffy. If my bench is iffy, then I got to have an alternative plan, especially for a team I see 4 or 5 times a year. So that's on OKC simply being a better team. And it's just a matter of time. What they calling for Minnesota to win in 7. If they blow out Minnesota again in game 2, we might just be looking at a sweep, man. Jihad, Knicks taking it all the way. Yeah, I told you guys I do rideshare. I don't know if I said it, but I saw JC on here. I do rideshare. Yesterday I took the guy to the airport, and he just happened to be from New York. And he's telling me how he can't understand the hysteria of the people in New York about why they think that the Knicks are going to do something, and they're acting like they already did something. And he's right. They hadn't done a thing. All they did was get by an injury-riddled Celtics team. Now you got to beat a young Pacers team to get to the NBA Finals. But we even went to the point of if they had won the championship. Chris Bristol, how you doing, man? How you doing? I'm talking about these Knicks right now. Mad respect to you too. But he was saying to me that these people, they go to the games and they get into fight with people from another team, got another team jersey on. And we both agreed that that's kind of hysterical because the organizations, they don't really care about the individual people that come to the games. Yeah, we appreciate you buying the ticket and screaming and yelling and cheering us on. But the bottom line is you've got nothing to do with that team. You just identified yourself. That's why they call it fans. It's a fantasy. You're not even a part of that team, but yet you want to get into a fight and go to jail over a sports team. And we just thought it was comical that people actually do that. And then he's saying that New York fans are the worst. I say, no, I think Philadelphia might have you there. And then he agreed, yeah, Philadelphia fans are the worst. But he was basically saying that, yeah, the Knicks, it would be great if they won. But what does it really mean in the bigger scheme of things? And when you think about, if you stop and think about it, that has always been the point. You can inject yourself into a situation, but in reality, we as fans, we're not really in that situation. We just identify. But to get into a fight over win or loss, no, we're not going to do that. So he made a lot of sense. But Knicks fan, he just thought that they have a good chance, but they hadn't won anything yet. But they're acting like they already won the championship. And if New York was to actually get into the finals and win, then it would really. So that's just some interesting thoughts I got yesterday from a guy from New York City. But speaking of the Knicks, they take on the Pacers tonight in game 1. I think it starts at 8 o'clock. They're actually playing in New York. So it's going to be a raucous scene at the Garden there. Both teams are going to be rusty. So that won't be a reason to. Both teams should start out sluggish, but as the game goes on, the play should improve. But no team has an advantage over the other. But like I said, most of the times when you sit out a week or so, you're going to be a step behind. And if you look at Minnesota last night, they were a step behind. If in the first half, OKC struggled, and that was the time for Minnesota to jump on them and expand the lead because you knew at some point OKC was going to turn it on. And they did that in the second half. But had Minnesota played better in the first half, other than Randall, then they could have sprinted out to a 15-point lead, and that would have made it interesting down the stretch. But only going up by 4 points, and after having Randall hit all those three-pointers, you knew that Minnesota had a problem in the second half, and that's the way it played out. All right, Jihad, how we doing, man? You already said the Knicks going all the way. I don't think so. They might make it to the finals. One of the Pacers or either the Pacers or the Knicks, they're going to have to face down OKC in the finals, and somebody has to be on the other side of a champion. And I think it doesn't even matter who comes out of the East. Can the Knicks, if they get to the finals, can they cause problems? Absolutely, they can. They're all professional basketball teams, and you never know who wants to do something in the spotlight. Some guys, when the spotlight is on them, they're like a roach. They go scurrying away. They can't deal with it. They fold, kind of like a James Harden. And I don't know if that's 100% fair to James Harden because he's a great player. He hasn't done very much in Game 7s. So I guess you can say he scurried away like a roach. But I say that in a respectful manner if I could. But then there's some teams on the bench that have players on the bench that are just waiting for the opportunity to get off that bench in the right time to come back and show players that show teams that he coming to win a championship. You got players out there like, for instance, Donovan Mitchell. Just imagine a guy like Mitchell on the bench, just waiting and showing the world what he has. Anytime you get into a championship series or championship game, it sets the stage for somebody to come in and take over. That's why you've seen in the NFL in the Super Bowl, some guys step up. So like Timmy Smith came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden, now you see what he got. Now, he might not do nothing nowhere else, but when the lights are on, he turn it on. So that gives the Knicks a puncher's chance and anybody else a puncher's chance that think they want to win a championship. But as a team, basketball, the way those guys are moving that ball around and playing defense, that's going to be a hard team to beat, man. All right, the soccer club, World Cup is playing in June in America. I didn't say anything about soccer. I said football is king. And when I'm talking football, I'm talking about American football. And basketball is just like everything else. It's just something else to do until American football comes back around. Now, I'm aware that around the world, that soccer is the number one sport in the world. I know that. And I have nothing against soccer. I just wish they scored more goals. But it's a great sport. I got nothing against it. It's just not American football. That's all. So who's your soccer club, soccer team, or what's your nation that you like? T-Man Toss? Who's your team? I like Brazil. They've been jiving lately, but eventually they're going to come up with a team to get back up there. They always go deep into those tournaments, so expect to see them moving forward. Ravens gave Henry for 2 more years. No, I actually missed that. How much? What did he get? He was making like what's he getting, like 20 million before? But the thing is, Henry's got all those miles on it, man. It's like buying a used car with 200,000 miles on it. You don't know how much longer that's going to last. I'm afraid that he might pull a. If you remember him, they got in high school, they ran him half to death at Alabama, and they ran him to death at Tennessee. Now, Baltimore, they hadn't killed him. And I question why didn't they give him the ball more in the playoffs? They didn't do that. And maybe if they could continue to spare him like that, then he can extend his career 3 more years. But like I said, he's got a lot of carries on his back, and he might come through that one play and a seemingly innocent tackle, get up and go to the sideline. You might not never see him no more. Or he might just say, to hell with this, man. I'm tired of this, man. I'm going to do something else. 30 million for 2 years? Oh, you can't beat that. I wonder what he got guaranteed. You know, that's the big thing is what's guaranteed. Because the NBA, if you sign that, you're going to get your money, but not in the NFL. All you get is your signing bonus. And say you get cut, you get to keep your bonus. And the rest of that contract just goes somewhere else. But that's a great contract for Henry. He deserves it. Like I told you guys before, just looking at what he's done on all 3 levels, we might just be looking at, and I hate to get into that conversation about the best. He might just be, I know he's amongst the best that ever ran that football. You could say he was bigger than everybody in those lower levels, but he got to college and ran over them too. And I've seen him run over guys in the NFL. And if you can run over guys on all 3 levels, there's no Hall of Fame league where you got to go run over them. But, they'll put a hat on him in the Hall of Fame league. But to get there, there's no more question. But, if he had come along at the wrong time, like, say, in my era, they would have made him go play another position. And it was fortunate for him. And it just goes to show how you have to be fortunate, whatever you do. Because, like I said, you can get a coach that'll put you in a bad position in a spot that you can't play or you don't want to play and you lose interest for the game. But had he come along when I played, they probably would have made a tight end or a defensive end or something out of him and wouldn't want to give him the ball. And they certainly wouldn't have gave him the ball as many times as he got in high school. But he just came along and he got a coach that gave him the ball all the time. And that led to other stuff for him. And he just put him in position in the category that, he's going to be in one of the top 10 or 15 backs that ever carried the football. So I'm glad to see him getting paid. But at the same time, all those carries, he could be gone at any time. So enjoy him while you see him. All right, the Ravens going to be good this year. We got some good picks out of the draft. Yeah, all those picks sound good, but until they play out on the field, don't mean anything. It's just like everybody's anointing Minnesota past OKC. Until they actually do it on the court, it don't mean anything. And let me tell you something else about those draft picks. The first round picks are pretty much guaranteed to make the team. The second round picks are almost guaranteed. I've seen second round guys that didn't make it before. And the ones that you really want to watch are the lower round picks. That's where you find your true players, because if they got the heart and they have the ability and to be a true pro, then that's where you find those guys. But other than that, it's hit or miss with that draft stuff, man. But the Ravens, I don't know, better throwing the ball. It's kind of like when they went 14-2 a couple years ago and they lost to Tennessee and Derrick Henry. That game, Jackson was on, and the receivers were dropping the ball. But all during the year, he would make bad passes, and the receivers would adjust and make great catches to make him look good. But it was reversed in the playoffs. They were dropping the ball. And the same thing this time. I never seen Jackson take the team down when he had to take them down for a score to win a game in a big game. He did that this time, and then when they needed the receivers to make the catch, again, they don't catch the ball. So there's a disconnect somewhere with the Ravens that's stopping them from putting their whole game together when they really need to do that. So until they do that, I don't see the Ravens going anywhere. I'll still call them the regular season Ravens because they're going to have a lot of excitement and people are going to watch them and they're going to win some games and, hey, they're going to look great. And people are going to say they're going to win the Super Bowl. But the playoffs start and now you got a completely different level, and I just don't see them getting over that level. Now, until they do it, they're not going to do it in my case. But can they do it? Yeah, they can do it. Any team can win a championship once you get in the playoffs, but they got a tall mountain to climb. And everybody else is steady getting better around him, except Pittsburgh, my team. I don't know what the hell they're going to do about the quarterback situation. They've been hanging on trying to get Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers, there's no telling what he might do. He might end up in New Orleans. But I wouldn't even worry about it if I was Pittsburgh. I told you guys a long time ago what Pittsburgh should have done. Said, look here, man, give us a date. If you're not here by June 1st, you go somewhere else. Even if you decide later on you want to play for us, we don't have time for you no more. Either give us a date by June, come with us by June 1st, or the hell with you, man. That's what Pittsburgh should have said. And if they don't end up with Aaron Rodgers, they're probably going to call Atlanta to see if they can get Kirk Cousins out of there. He would be an upgrade from what we had passing the ball. If we can run the football and play good defense like Pittsburgh is known for, then with a quarterback like Cousins or Rodgers or somebody that can give you 3,000 yards in the season, Pittsburgh then becomes dangerous. But they still need to find a defense to find a way to stop guys like Derrick Henry, because there's no way in the world your division rival, who you know what they're going to do and how you stop them in the past, and you still couldn't do that. You couldn't come up with a plan. Pittsburgh played Ravens last year like they'd never seen the Ravens before. Just like Minnesota last night played OKC like they'd never seen them before. Like Van Exel said, he's filling them out. Why the hell you got to fill out a division opponent? You should already know what you're going to do before the game plan comes out. But that's the way they do. They overthink things. And when you get to overthinking, that team that does know you, that does what they're supposed to do, they put something on you. And that's what you saw last night. And until Pittsburgh shores up things, um, it's going to be the same result. And then the noise out there about them getting a new coach because his message is stale, they might have legs to it, man. So we're going to see how he bounce back this year. But I don't want to get off track too much. But that's a great talk there and a good point there for Derrick Henry. I'm glad he got his money. Talk ball, my boy. I don't know who that is. Howard Stark, how you doing? Daniel Berry, Sports Highlights, how you doing? Talking about the Ravens and we're talking about these Timberwolves, man. People want to automatically put them in the finals over OKC because they're the better team. I hadn't seen none of that. I hadn't seen it all year. And I know they had the better record over OKC in the regular season, but that don't mean a damn thing when it comes to the playoffs. It's all about adjustments. And if they get blown out again in game 2, I'm going to Home Depot and get me a broom, man, because they're going to sweep the Timberwolves right out the door, man. But the Knicks on tonight. Knicks, they got opportunity, but nobody's talking about the Pacers. They're young and hungry too. That should be a great series, but I don't think either one of those teams can beat OKC. But once you step in the ring with anybody can get caught with a right cross, especially if you don't see it. So keep your eyes open for that punch, man. But in the meantime, I appreciate you guys chiming in with me. I got to get up out of here and go to work. I asked the question, are the Timberwolves in trouble? And most of you are saying they are, and I thoroughly agree with that. And you're not going to be able to have a guy like Randall hit all those three-pointers every game, and you got no inside presence. I don't know what Rudy Gobert is doing. Big fella like that. I think this modern style of play, depending on the three, kind of hurts teams a lot. When you got a tall player, 7'1", 7'2", like a Gobert, pound that ball down to the big fella, man. Let him go to the hole and then get fouled and shoot the free throws like they always did in basketball. I mean, that never goes out of style. And if you can hit three-pointers and get a big fella down low, who's going to beat you, man? It's going to be hard to beat a team like that. And maybe one day the trends in basketball will shift. But when you start getting guys like Steph Curry to start shooting the ball from half court, and it's not going back the way it was. So a lot of points going to be left on the court because they don't pound the ball down to the big fella. And it's kind of sad in a lot of ways. But game 2 of the Wolves tomorrow, and we got the Knicks tonight. Again, appreciate you guys chiming in with me. Like, subscribe, all of that. I appreciate it. And if there's no breaking news, I'll catch you guys in the morning. So until next time, I'm out. That's my signal. I got to go to work, man. So you guys have a great day. All right. Anthony Edwards, man, you got to do more than 18 points and 0 points in the fourth quarter.